do, if you want to know about this stuff and you've always been kind of, I need to talk to the quintessential guy that has to do with it, we have got
Daryl Sprout.
Now, I'm telling you, this he has a really unique way. When you read the description of it, you're like, okay, this is way over my head. This man has a way of bringing it down to our level so we can understand really what's going on.
I can't wait to find out what this is all about because I don't know what it's all about.
Well, zero-point integration, you know, let me give you a little rundown on it. I have no idea. So, but he's going to break it down for us, human beings, because this is advanced, amazing stuff. Don't be intimidated by the words or the man. Ladies and gentlemen,
Daryl Sprout.
How's everybody doing? Some of us actually know how to make a microphone be heard across a room. Okay, so we got plenty of vendors. Do we have any guests? Okay, so I'm here to introduce a technique called zero-point integration. What I want to know first is, has anybody here ever heard of the word alpha biotics? Anybody in the whole room? Alpha biotics. You've heard of it? All right. I was actually certified in that technique back in 1990. But basically, in the years since, I took a lot of damage, a lot of physical damage from actually doing that move. But B, I became a Reiki master and later got attuned to, Karuna and Zero Point and a few more. And I discovered there was a way to do the alpha biotic effects without the moves. And that's really what Zero Point integration is about. Do I have anyone in the room currently who is in pain? You're in pain? All right, come on. No, you're about to be. You raise your hand. You're about to be my victim. Sit. Okay, it hurts where? Really? On a 1 to 10, tennis, please shoot me. How bad?
right now about a 7.
A 7?
Goes to 10.
Is there a move that makes it go higher?
Like swinging. Yeah.
And that goes up to what?
This right now, it's okay. I'm lying to you. It's a 5 now. This is a 7.
Okay, a 5 to a 7. Okay, a 7. I mean, a 7 moving and a 5 ambient. All right, here we go.
Whatever you want.
Okay, now first of all, we're going to start with, no, right where you're at is fine. We're going to start with the basics, which is which side of your brain is dominant. Are you you right-handed? Left-handed. You expect your left arm to be stronger than your right?
Yeah.
Check it out. See if I can actually do this.
Someone actually knows how to do it.
All right, let's see if I can actually do it. Never actually tried to do this particular. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with a basic kinesiological response. Let's do make a fist, hold your arm out straight, push up against me, push hard. Resist. Okay, that's pretty weak. See what happens on the other side. Push. See, this is good side of good and strong. Now, if give me your feet. You notice how your right leg is shorter? Yes. See, I'm directly under the ankles on both sides? Yeah. Okay, the right leg is a little bit shorter. You have to do it to hold the mic for you? Is that what you're going to hold the mic for you? Yeah, you can if you want. Actually, I don't know. I can possibly, now that I've actually gotten this far. Okay, the right leg short means the left side of the brain is dominant at the moment. All right? Now, it feels like one side of the body is stronger than the other, but it's actually not. I'll prove it. I want you to give me your feet again, take a deep breath and hold it. Okay, now that was just a foot movement you can't do yourself. And your brain goes, that doesn't make any sense. And very temporarily, you'll switch dominant hemispheres. So this is your weak arm, remember? Okay, make a fist for me again. Push hard. And this side, this is the strong arm, watch. Now it's a matter of, I just switched your dominant hemispheres. That'll only last about 3 minutes. What I'm about to do will last about 3 days. Okay.
I've got to go home.
Okay, Mike's in.
I want to go home now. That was a good line. I'm using that again. Okay, here we go. That's really good. That was a really good line.
All right, here we go. Just sort of relax, watch yourself breathe. Now I'll get into in a minute what exactly I'm doing here, but this only takes a couple of minutes.
I did.
Does the name Pavlov ring a bell?
I know. You're supposed to feel exactly like this. All right, relax. Just hold on, hold on. You're not crossing your legs. No, you're not. You're good. Almost there.
A very broke back.
What? Stop distracting me. I know.
Okay, so let's get back to your feet first. Give me those again. See where they're the same length? Okay, now check this out. Push. You notice the longer I push, the stronger you get? Check the other side. Okay, now which wrist was it that hurt? Okay, it was a 7 moving and a 5 resting. What is it now? Is it like a 0?
No, I'm kidding.
Usually I could do some more after this, but if I'm already to a 0, that's all I have to do.
It's really, I don't really.
Okay, stand up, stand up.
Stand up.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead, since you don't actually need anything extra, I'm gonna do it anyway. Check this out. This just happens to be my favorite wand. It's a piece of orlite. Happens to be my favorite stone to work with. I discovered it in Sedona. I was there in 2011 for the Crystal Skull ceremony with Hun Batsman and Drumolo Melchizedek. And this has been my wand ever since. But other crystals work. How long since your wrist hasn't hurt? 3 years? First time right now?
Massage therapist.
Do you have any idea how many fewer side effects I have than OxyContin? That didn't help either. All right, let's go ahead and do your chakras since you're standing there. This is really good for that. I can both balance and clear chakras in a matter of minutes with this, or moments really. Clockwise is clear, is balancing, counterclockwise is clearing. Pretty intense, huh? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that was our first demonstration. So, let me talk a little bit about what's actually happening here. Since I'm standing here, I'm going to go ahead and show you what's in the box. You may wonder what's in the box? All right, well, for those of you who don't know me, the other thing that I do besides having come up with a strange hybrid healing technique, also the world's only stand-up comic snake handling magician. I am a prestidigitating herpetological humorist. I'm not kidding. Who can tell me, what do you call a snake with legs? A politician. Lawyer would work too. Another good answer would be lizard, and this is a lizard, but he is not an iguana. He is not a Komodo dragon. And he is certainly not some gecko who's constantly going on about saving you money on insurance. Now, he's from Argentina. He's a black and white tegu, and his name is Capone. Isn't he awesome? And isn't he handsome? No, he does not have the mumps, those big squishy cheeks. Squishy, squishy. Those are actually where he stores fat, and he stores a whole lot of it this time of the year, because right now it's winter time here, so it's summertime in Argentina, and he thinks he needs to be storing up food, storing up fat to be able to sleep through the summer. So he'll spend a lot of time in the summertime asleep under my bed. Probably another reason I'm single. You know how they say nice guys finish last? Yeah, well, nice guys who drive a van full of snakes finish after them. But let me show you something, because this is one of my favorite things to do with him. Animals respond faster to energy than humans do by a lot. You'll notice how completely squirmy he is. Now, two of my favorite magicians, because they're really, really talented, are called Penn and Teller. I'm actually an experienced magician as well, right? These guys will tell you, in fact, they did a whole series of their show called Bullshit, talking about how Reiki is bullshit, all right? It's true, we can't measure it. There's a whole lot of stuff about Reiki and homeopathics both that are way too subtle for us to be able to measure yet, okay? So the fact is that when they call it bullshit because they can't measure it, they're missing the point. Let me show you something. Here's an animal that's squirming like crazy. Watch. 3, 2, 1. The fact is that we're nothing but patterns of organic energy. And if you can introduce an energy field into a compatible energy field and be calming and gentle and relaxing, look at it. So the fact is that not only is Reiki real, but everything they're telling us is bullshit is real. All of it. The fact is that well, my best way to put it here, let's hear it for Capone. You guys all get to meet him after the show. Everybody gets to pet him. He feels like a slightly deflated football. But the fact is that Reiki is simply a matter of being able to channel energy and letting it flow into your head and out of your hands without depleting your own energy. Now there's a couple of glitches with Reiki. Actually, there's one big one. It's actually a stolen technology. When Takata came to the United States, not only was she really kind of an upstart because a very, very male-dominated world in Japan, they really didn't want a woman learning it to begin with, and they certainly didn't want a woman who was partly, not Japanese, right? She was half white, or third or something, I don't know. But when she came to the United States and made a whole bunch of money teaching people how to do Reiki, I mean, back then it was like, I don't know, it was 20 grand to learn how to be a Reiki master. It was basically a stolen technology. She made a whole lot of money on it, and there was a kind of a glitch because of that. A whole lot of people that practice Reiki don't actually understand that that's part of the problem. I actually met a guy named Jason Estes who told me about the glitch, and he told me there was a way to remove it. And I went ahead and let him do it, being kind of skeptical about it, but not only could I feel it, but it made a huge difference, and it actually helped with the development of this technique. And he actually told me, and it's been proven true several times since, that I can actually re-attune somebody who's a Reiki master. If they're already Reiki 3, in just a couple of minutes I can actually re-attune them to level 3, and it will remove the glitch. But the fact is that Alpha Biotics is a move, and you'll see if you go outside. My table is an inclined table. It's a slant table, right? The idea is that every other kind of stress that we deal with in life comes and goes. The one that does not come and go is gravity. It's constantly pushing down on you. Old people slowly lose the battle against it. Eventually you go diagonal, right? Or you go horizontal. You lose the battle, right? The thing is that Alpha Biotics is the art of doing a martial arts move, sort of like this, that decompresses the upper cervical spine. It makes it makes gravity go the other way. And for a very brief moment, it's Control-Alt-Delete to the brain. The fact is, the brain works in a priority way. The highest priority is survival. It's far more important than healing. It's far more important than maintenance. It's more important than regeneration. So when you're in a survival state, when you're in fight or flight mode, that is the most important thing to the brain. Everything else gets the back burner. Which means, for instance, if you have a toothache this week, and you did not have a toothache last week, it doesn't mean you didn't have a tooth problem last week. It says this week it actually got through to your brain as a survival issue. Okay, it got through to the nerve. All of the great killers, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, they all have long incubation periods, some of them 30 years plus. Some people's first symptom of heart disease is death. It's the very first symptom they ever get, all right? And yet that was developing for many, many years. The fact is that in a true fight or flight situation, my favorite example is to use a car. A car jumps the curb and it is about to mow you down. The left side of your brain is supposed to take over and jump you east or west. You don't need the right side of your brain chiming in with red car, blue sky. Okay? But when the car misses you and you're still alive, you're supposed to go back into bihemispheric function. Both sides work together functionally again. We're all born with both sides working equally. The problem is we deal with more stress in a year than our parents did in 10. We deal with more stress than they did in a lifetime, in 1 year. So at some point in our childhood, we lateralize into one side or the other out of a fight or flight survival response, and we stay there. And the whole room is full of left and right brain dominant people. Now I want to try something. This is going to be pretty unique. You guys, can everybody stand up? Can we make a circle right over here? Leave your stuff, it'll be all right, I promise. You'll be right here watching. Okay, everybody stand in a circle for me, right over here. This ought to be very interesting. All right, here we go. Room? Yeah, probably. Yeah, it'll probably do. Actually, I'm going to do this without the mic for a minute. That's all right.
Mind you both.
Okay. Get away over this skin. See, it's a normal thing to stand with with more weight on one leg than the other. Most of you are actually standing fairly even at the moment. We're going to do a quick test here. Start with you. Hand out straight. Make fist, push against me. Push hard. Okay, let's try the other side. See, that's your strong one, isn't it? Okay, feel how weak this is? Yeah. All right. Strong that is by comparison. Okay, let's do you. That's real weak. That's quite a bit better, right? Right. Okay, let's try you. Actually, believe it or not, I don't want to go okay. Push. That's pretty strong, okay? Whereas this side is weak. No, it's not. Wait a minute. Push.
Strong.
Here, let's try this one.
Yeah.
You're just Bush, that's all. That's really strong. All right, okay, push. Yeah, that's pretty weak. See, there's your strong side. Okay, everybody remember which strong side you did, okay? Because I'm not going to be able to remember all these. Okay, push for me. That's getting strong. Yeah. Now let me show you something. Since I just did him, you watched how weak his right leg was? You do it to them. I'm going to do the same demonstration I did before. Give me your feet. Take a deep breath and hold it. All right, let it out. Now that's your strong arm, right? There's your weak arm. Push. Now I used one finger. Okay, okay, stand back down. I'm not kidding. This works every time. Let's see. Who's next? Are you next? All right, you're next. Okay, give me. Yeah, there's your strong arm. Remember that. Okay, push. Wow, that's not even there. I'll explain what all this means in just a second. I just want to get the whole circle done. Push. See, that's really weak. There's your strong side. Yeah, you're strong on that side. That doesn't surprise me at all. See how weak that is? Okay. And you push. Gotta be there to begin with. Okay, push. Hardly anything there. Push, 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 push hard. Okay, there we go. And yeah, there's your weak side. Okay, just remember which side's weak. All right, push. Getting solid on that side. Dude, you're strong. Okay. We have to turn your. We're isolating the deltoid by turning the thumb down. Okay, push for me. Yeah. Okay. See how weak that got? Whereas if we do it with this side, this is still strong. That's your strong side. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Push for me. Push. That's good. Push. That's not. Okay. And push for me. That one's weak. That one's not. There we go. That one's solid. Dude. There we go again. There's no way you're balanced. Let's find out. Okay, one side's weaker. Okay, push. Okay, there's your weak side. Yeah, see what I mean? My two hands. Okay, so it's the right side strong. Do we do you? Okay. Push. See, there's your right side. Okay, okay. So, here's the deal. Everybody is either left, right, or right brain dominant. It doesn't mean you can't use the other side. In fact, let me go ahead and go back to the mic. It doesn't mean you can't use the other side when you got one side dominant. It's just the other side is passive. It's in the background. It doesn't work as well. It's being told by the other side what to do. Okay? So, of course, left brain dominant people, which by the way, would mean that your right arm is stronger. Okay? That's left brain dominance. The reason is, if your left brain dominant, the right side of your body is passive, or the side of the body that it controls is getting weaker signal from the brain. And so all of those muscles are selectively weaker. And you got 244 muscles attached to your spine like guy wires. When one side goes weak, the other side contracts and takes a slap. Make sense? So that actually pulls that hip high, pulls that leg short. I mean, that's why most people, right brain dominant people, means the left leg is short, they're all standing on their left leg because the right leg's a little bit longer. The opposite is true. Okay? So, the deal is that hemispheric lateralization of the brain is just a fight or flight response. All it is going into survival. And survival is a higher priority than healing and maintenance and regeneration. As soon as you get back into hemispheric equalization, when both sides are in homeostasis, then healing and maintenance and regeneration are the highest priorities. Does it all make sense? Okay, here we go. I'm going to do a really, really fast version of this. Check this out. Give me hands. Everybody join hands. I'm going to give you a really fast version of my favorite earthing meditation. Breathe deep. Let all of your attention go. Focus only on the sound of my voice. For just a moment, this will be really fast. When you breathe in, I want you to breathe in to the sole of your left foot. Literally breathe in from Mother Earth. Breathe in not just breath, but energy, life, prana, all of it. Okay, breathe in Aya to the sole of your left foot. When you breathe out to the sole of your right foot. Give everything back to her. Everything that you don't want, everything that is pain, suffering, anguish, remorse, regrets, anything, give it back to her. It's just compost. All right? It goes out through the sole of your right foot, right back into Mother Earth. As you breathe in, let that go deeper and deeper into the center of the earth. As you breathe out, give more and more of anything you don't want right back to her. Just a couple or three breaths that way, you'll see what I mean. I want you to slowly notice that there is a pulse in each one of your hands. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, we're supposed to be left hand, right hand down and left hand up. There we go. Everybody do it. Left hand up, right hand down. Switch if you have to. There you go. There you go. Now the reason for that, let me show you. I'm going to let go for a second. You ever seen the Buddha doing this? That's because this is in, this is out. Does that make sense? Okay, so here you go. Right hand down, left hand up.
Okay, now I want you to notice that there is a pulse in the center of your palm. Take a minute until you feel it. Looking for little nods. How many people feel the pulse? It'll slowly get stronger as you're reaching for it. It's subtle at first, but feel that subtle pulse. It'll get stronger as you follow it. Feel it? Do I have any no's here? You got a no? Don't feel it yet? Okay, that's fine. Just give me a no if you got it. It's all right. I can direct it to you, all right? Now, you will notice that those two pulses are out of sync. Everybody feel that?
I feel it in one.
All right? The pulses are out of sync. Now watch. They're about to go into sync. They feel them pulsing together? How many people don't feel it yet? You don't feel it yet? But you did feel the pulse to begin with. You didn't feel the pulse to begin with? All right, in that case. Very subtle. Somewhere between magnetism and electricity. You'll feel it in the center of your palm. Still no? All right, we'll come back here. It's all right. So does everybody feel it actually in sync now? Everybody else? Okay, now watch. It's going to slow down. Everybody feel that? Still in sync. Slowing down. Now, I forgot to ask if anybody else in this group was in pain. Was anybody in pain when we started?
Yeah.
You were? You too? Okay, where do you hurt you? Back out of whack, and on a 1 to 10 tennis, please shoot me. How bad is it? Bad at me? Bad. Okay, what about you?
Left shoulder is about 6.
6 or 7 in the left shoulder.
And right neck, and it's about 5.
Wow, okay. All right. You two are my special cases. And you? Middle finger, really? Been using it too much? Okay, so dislocated middle finger, okay. And it's how bad? And on a 1 to 10, how bad is it? About a 4. Okay, so we got a 4 there, a 5 and a 7 on you, and an 8 on you on your back. Okay. All right, now we're going to slow it down a little bit more. Does everybody feel that? You feel it slowing down? I know it's subtle, but it's there, isn't it? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the circle again. I want everybody to present your weak arm to me. Okay, remember which arm was weak? Does anybody forget? if you can't, you didn't have a weak one. Yeah, you were strong on both sides. You were really, yeah. I used the wrong word. Sorry, but there we go. Which arm was weak? That was weak. Okay, push. You notice the longer I push, the stronger it gets. Give me your weak arm. Yep. The fact is, the brain actually understands more immediately once you're in balance. Is that really all you got? Okay, hold on. Just relax. Close your eyes. Let yourself breathe. There we go. Push for me again. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
And you, that's a weak arm? And you? See what I mean? You'll notice the longer I push, the stronger you get. That's because the brain is actually focused on what you're trying to give it. Was this your weak arm? Okay, push for me. Okay, you're still there. You were strong on both sides, so what's the difference? All right, push. Still a 5 and a 7?
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit. Come back to you. Okay. A little weak there, hold on. Difference? Yeah, it's weak. Get up, good. Watch yourself breathe. Still a difference? Which one? Still a little weak, we're still. All right, and this was your right arm? Yep, yep, good there. And we already started with it. Okay, so, believe it or not, you're all now in hemispheric balance. Now there's gonna be several side effects to that. There's a direct relationship between hemispheric balance and emotional balance. There's a direct relationship between a reduced stress level and a completely different relationship with the world around you. There's absolutely no question about it. We deal with so much stress, we deal with so much, and there's so many artificial things that they tell you to do about it. I mean, horribly artificial things. All of them with horrible side effects. None of it is actually necessary. But the teacher who taught me antibiotics was one of my favorite illustrations. He said, imagine you've got a string tied around your finger so tight that the finger's all swollen and pulsing and hurting. Now you can pray over it, you can massage it, you can take vitamins, you can rub oils on it, you can do all kinds of cool stuff that will help, but none of it helps as much as untying the string. That's literally what I just did. All you did was went back to the original state that you were in when you were born, which was both sides working together. Everybody was born with both hemispheres working together. But we deal with so much stress that we lateralize into one side or the other. And what's an interesting thing about this is that if you have if you have, for instance, a greater pain on one side than the other, once you actually hit gravity starts hitting your body, you'll notice that all of you are standing exactly equally on both feet. You can stand on one foot or the other now, you actually have to lean to do it. See what you're doing? Yeah. Your back is actually still, yeah, okay. So what I need now is to reduce it to just the people that are in pain. You're one of them, right? So I got you, and who got you, and who else? Who's my other pain person? Okay, could everybody else sit down? We're going to get these 4 people left. Okay, let's see. I think I'll take this chair. Sit down for me, dear. Okay, now tell me again where it hurts. Left leg. Okay, so the back was what, did you say a 7? An 8. And it's mostly on your right side?
No, right down the spine.
Right down the middle. Okay, and the leg is how bad?
It's 5.
Okay, we're gonna come back to the leg. Let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna need to get to your back, so let's stand you up. Okay, a 7 right in here, right? Right in here? Okay.
The whole back.
All right. Now this is just a receiving hand in the front. By the way, if anybody is wondering if this technique is teachable, the answer is yes. When I learned alphabiotics, it was 2 years and a whole bunch of stuff to get through to learn the physical movement, all right? And you know, with Reiki, you got to go through 3 different attunements, really 4 technically, and then I do a 4th one that's actually this technique. But I just took recently a kid who was really enthusiastic about it. I took him from 0 to 0 points. I call this 0 point integration, right? I did it in 5 months, and he's doing it. He's out there making a big difference in it. It's and compared to just about any technique you can learn out there. I mean, it's really dramatic and it's way less expensive. All right, we still a 7. Up to an 8? No, it wasn't 8. We're still an 8. Actually, it'll probably help if you see this. Everybody come in a little closer. I want you to see something.
I think Paula.
Let your eyes go close. Watch the space between the stone. Can you see it?
Kind of a cone.
Yes. It's a vortex. Scalar energy, 0 point. It's visible. The reason the 0 point works is 0 point is the baseline level of any sort of organic system. So if you can direct 0 point energy at an organic system, it tends to revert to its pre-damaged state, its original state. Okay, so that's all that's really happening here. So now that you understand that. What are we down to? Down to a 7. Yeah, it'll move. That's very, very common. You said it even before I ever got there. When I get somebody down to a 2 or a 1, I always tell them, don't be surprised when it moves, because it will. You already told me that between 7 and 8. The center of the pain will always move. Partly because it didn't actually originate where you feel it. What are we down to?
Down to 5. Where
Down
it
to a 5.
was pretty, and it's moved down to like the lower.
Point to it for me. That's where it is? Okay, okay. And that's a 5?
It's down my left leg.
I told you it moved. So a 5? What are we down to here?
The lower part.
So we're from an 8 to a 4, mostly on the left leg.
Yes, down my left leg.
Still a 4. Where did it move this time? Further down? Wow.
My knee down.
This is probably sciatic nerve.
I did have a sciatic nerve attack on the right side. I was in the
Or is it just
hospital. Couldn't walk.
red line and then
Wish I'd known you then.
Yeah.
Could have gotten you out of there in
plug it
one.
into?
Still 4?
Yeah, the knee is down.
Okay, sit down for me. I know. And she just said the most common phrase that I hear when I do this. That's weird. And I got to tell you that, and I mean, this is a crowd that actually understands things being weird, you know. But in general, I find that the faster this works, the more dramatically it works, the more people go, holy gosh, what kind of movement to use it, you know what I mean? Anybody still see the beam I'm working with?
What is happening with your left hand or your right?
I'm receiving. I'm actually feeling the density of the tissue that I'm going through. I'm feeling how, in this case, because I'm at an angle, I'm feeling ricochet, but when I was doing this, I was feeling actually coming through the tissue, so I can actually feel where increased density is, and I can actually feel for sure that I've got the energy flowing. Still 4?
Okay.
All kinds of stuff is changing, believe me. When you go into balance, your brain goes back to the highest priority being healing and regeneration. And you tend to recover from damage about 12 times as rapidly as you accumulate. Still 4. Number 3, I'm going to call it at this point, but I'm going to work on this some more. Everybody, what is your name here? Ruth. Everybody give Ruth a hand. Okay, so you're my next one, right? Okay, so this thing, oh wow, this is a really bad finger, isn't it? Oh, goodness sake. And how bad is it hurt again? Wow. You know, it gives you this weird urge to walk through city parks finding people in pain going, take up my bed and walk. The problem is, you're not allowed to do that. The better I get at this, the more the path teaches me that I'm not allowed to fix everything. You know what I mean? They not only have to want me to, I can't just do this to show them either. Now in this case, people actually came to see my lecture, so I kind of think I have a pass on it. Yeah, I expect it will. Something I would recommend you consider trying is oxygen. You get food grade peroxide, 3%. You can find it at the health food store these days. Add it to stuff like spray it on the back of your throat. It's a good way to rinse your mouth anyway. You can swallow it because it's food grade. But when you add the extra O2 to your bloodstream, it helps with this. I can definitely feel the oxygen deprivation. Arthritis is really about oxygen. Okay, move the hand around. Yeah, that's such a green. Yeah, blues. Feeling any difference in the ambient pain level? Feeling a little bit less pain? All right, we're going to come back to you, Daryl. So I got you left. What's your name again? Jim. Okay, and where was the problem that we had? The left side was a 7, right side is a 12. Concept of Reiki again, the energy goes in through your head and out through your hands. And you're calling on a universal source, so you're not depleting your own energy. That doesn't mean there are no hazards. I mean, you do deplete them. But as long as you remember where the source is supposed to be, and you understand that it's something bigger than you, and you're not doing this on your own, you don't deplete yourself. You're already breathing better, right? Because you're still 7? Okay, we're down to 6 on that side. Uh-huh. 5 to 3 on the neck. back. You were down to what, a 6 there? You still a 6?
It's still kind of stiff. It's kind of hard to kick.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Just for pain.
Well, you know, it's a good question. The question was it just with pain? Go ahead, grab the microphone. The question was, is it just a matter of dealing with the pain specifically? And the answer is absolutely not. Pain is a symptom, pain is beside the point. When the body is out of balance, when the body is stressed, when the body has issues, pain is one of the things that creates. Now, if you actually go through the sequence, the first thing that happens when we get stressed enough to go into a survival state, one side of the brain takes over, okay? The second stage is because there's a weak side, that side of the body, the side of the body that controls is weak, so you get weakness second, okay? Lateralization first, weakness second. Then you get tension on the other side because every muscle has a partner, and when one side weakens, the other side contracts to take the slack, so then you get tension as the next stage. The next stage is structural imbalance because you've got more stress on one side of the body than the other, and the hip is pulled high. That the brain is pushing, the gravity is pushing down on the top of the head, and the spine goes into an S-curve, okay? Everybody is scoliotic to some degree. And so what a chiropractor will do, and they're correct, as soon as you got structural imbalance, each one of those little curves in the X, there's little places where they meet called subluxations, okay? And when you have a subluxation, you're cutting off neuroelectrical energy to that organ or system. It becomes eventually diseased, okay? So what the chiropractor is doing is going to an earlier stage of that problem. He's going back to the structural imbalance. Then you go further back, you get the tension, and you get all of the body energy, body work people. You get massage therapists, you get physical therapists, you get all the body work, right? Reiki, rolfing. In previous state than that is the weakness. Then you get Reiki, then you get subtle body energy, you get network chiropractic, you get all that, okay? But the first stage, the left and right side imbalance, that happens because of lateralization. That's what this does. Okay, so we still at what, a 6? Yeah, all right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to sit you down. What I'm going to do is, I have a table. I have a table out there. It's on an incline. It's normally the table that an alpha biologist would use to do the physical move. I don't need it, but there's a lot of things I can do when I'm actually physically in contact with you that will be, you'll see. So each of you that's still got pain left, that's going to be on the house. Anybody else that actually wants to experience it, it's normally, my 7-minute session is normally $30. I'm going to do it for 10 here just as a show feature. If anybody wants to try it, getting on my table is very worth doing it. If you've got anything that's sort of feeling tense in here, wait till you see what I can do. But part of it is because I've been doing this for, gosh, I was certified as an alpha biologist in 1990. So, I mean, you'll see, my fingers know more than my head does. But the fact is that any stress that we deal with that locks in and sort of stays in there, it's a fairly easy thing to do what's called a pattern interrupt. That's really what this is. The idea behind alphabiotics, it's a sensory pattern interrupt because you make gravity go the opposite way. The move is literally a decompressive move to the upper cervical spine, and it reboots the brain. The brain is born with both sides working together. And so as soon as you have both sides, if you reboot the system, both sides working together again, you've got the weak side powers back up, the tight side loses all of its, it gets all its partners back, and so it relaxes and everything. All the bones put themselves back in place in their own way in their own time. Chiropractic is actually very, very invasive. Chiropractic is very paternalistic in a lot of ways. You're saying, okay, here's where your bones are supposed to be, crunch, 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 I made it happen.
But the fact is, the body is incredibly self-healing, self-regenerating, self-balancing. You just got to get back into that original state of homeostasis where it can do what it was designed to do for itself. Does that all make sense? So, do we have questions? All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, and I've got my cards out there and all that sort of thing. Meanwhile, how much time do we have for our next guy?
Tanya.
Oh, yeah, we're almost there, huh? Yeah, I was going to say, though, everybody ought to get a chance to meet Capone while he's here. Anybody want to meet Capone? He feels like a really expensive purse or a slightly deflated football. Thank you, guys. You were wonderful.
That was awesome. Everybody, Daryl, give him a big round of applause and go meet his lizard. Yes.
Clapping with my good hands.
Scott will meet your not good in 5 days. The 5th day. So everyone, please remember to visit the vendors. We've got readings, we've got crystals, we've got books, we've got spirit dolls, stones, Paris stuff. Roller derby, all here. Please buy stuff, and we'll be back starting at 1 o'clock. Yeah. We also have the other announcements. Got my card.
You